Hey folks, welcome to another Ask Us Anything call with LifterLMS. This is your opportunity to bring your questions live to us on screen. You put your questions and your comments into the chat. I'll even throw that banner up for you so it's both auditory and in writing. Go ahead and put your questions in the chat. We can take those here on screen, do screen shares for you, guide you in the right direction, try and help you with stuff. If you are not yet a LifterLMS user, this is a great opportunity to see the type of support and things that we provide. If you are a LifterLMS user, this is a great way to get some guidance, especially if you don't have, access to the actual support ticketing system. So some stuff we got to refer on, but other stuff we can handle here. So we welcome your questions and we encourage you to tell us who you are, where you're from, and all that fun stuff. I am Kurt. Magic Emily Middleton is with me currently, and we'll be here for the next 55 minutes or so. Speaking of 55, you can get 55% off with this coupon, lifterlms.com/AMA-gift, lifterlms.com/AMA-gift. Well, that rounds up my introduction. Tell me about your week, Emily.
I haven't been getting a lot of sleep. I need to work on getting more sleep from like 5 hours to 7 to 8, getting more than that. As far as LifterLMS projects, I've been doing more custom development work. It's good work because it pays a lot, but it's also difficult. And what else? I think that's been the majority of my week is just like custom development work, like just dedicating to this one huge custom development project I've been working on for like 3 months now. How about you?
This is going to sound suicidal to some people. I don't know. I've been pulling back. I've just been, you know what? It's beautiful. It's a wonderful summer here in Kansas. I'm going to go mountain biking. I'm going to go road biking. I did a gravel race 2 weeks ago. My son just got back from an extended visit in Colorado. So him and I will go and do some things hopefully this weekend. Like, I'm not even working tomorrow. Like, I've already told people, like, nope, I'm out. But here's the deal. From an agency perspective, I have multiple verticals. And one of my verticals is the power sports industry. And motorcycle dealerships don't want to talk to an IT guy or work on new programs during the summer. They want to sell their inventory. And it's the same with my customers that sell boats, right? So that whole market, I don't hear from like June, July, and August. That's stuff that's off my table during that time of year. But I can't just backfill that space because I'm busy in the fall and winter with those projects, right? So knowing that revenue is going to be down for July and August, in the past, I used to sit at the computer and like frantically try to figure out how I was going to like raise revenue and push. But now, I'm going to work on personal wellness and health and drop a few pounds and do the things that I want to do for the summer.
Nice.
Yeah, I voiced that to a couple of people in post status this week, and they were like, that's effing brilliant. Because it turns out everybody is slow in the summer, like especially with like clients. I put out, I share, maybe I overshare sometimes, but I think it's cool. Like, so if people realize, oh, it's not just you, like you're not screwing up your business. It's just the way things are, right? Like August rolls around, you throw out a bunch of invoicing, right? Because you're a business and you toss out a bunch of invoices. And then you start looking at the calendar and you're like, well, that's weird. People aren't paying their invoices. And then you got to send reminders and stuff like that. There's just something about the summertime. There's something about July and August where people brain fade, brain fart, don't care, get distracted. Something happens. And as an agency owner, I've decided I can't let myself get spun up in that. So I'm just going to check out for a little bit and go do the things that make me happy.
Nice.
And it's my birthday this weekend, so I really don't care about much.
Awesome. Well, happy birthday.
Thanks. I'm going to be older.
Indeed. If you were getting younger, it would be a little bit scary.
That'd be that Timothy Button thing.
Yeah.
All right. We do have people checking in with us. Gary Alderson. He's from Winnipeg. He says hi. He says, "Good for you, Kurt." Yeah, I think it's only come with maturity, because when I was younger, like let's say let's go back 8 years ago, right? So 8 years ago, um, I would have put out like invoices in June, and I would have been like, "Hey, I noticed my billing's down this month." And then July, I would have been like, "Oh, my billing's down again this month." And then August, I would have been like in panic mode, like pure panic, like, "Oh my God, I got to go to entrepreneur meetups. I got to shake more hands. I got to get on more Zoom calls. I got to figure something out." Um, but then I actually, and maybe this is inspiration from Katie Keith. Anyone that doesn't currently follow Katie Keith, you can go follow her on X. She's pretty brilliant and pretty transparent for a business person, but she like posts her numbers and stuff. Like she always knows what her numbers are. This is what we did last year. This is what we're doing this year. This is what this month, this week, last year, we did this much, she's always like, boom. And so I took a look at, years of our invoicing and billing. And sure enough, it's very cyclical. It's like killing it when it's cold outside, and it's always a struggle when it's hot and beautiful outside. And I thought to myself, well, if this is just the cycle for the way that I've built my business, I know other people have different struggles, but if this is the way I built my business and the people that I've chosen to do business with, and this is the cycle that it creates, I should change my attitude about it. I should actually embrace it and realize that this is a moment for me. And I'm doing stuff like Etch is out, right? So I'm learning Etch, and I'm like doing tutorials, and I'm doing stuff for personal development rather than stressing out about revenue, because I know the revenue is going to be back as soon as the weather breaks.
Mm-hmm.
All right. He says, "Good for you, Kurt." That goes away. Let's see. We got a question. Welcome, Cindy, to the call. Hello. Can I upload videos directly, or do I always have to find other platforms to upload them? Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. That's an honest answer for you, Cindy. Is there the ability to upload video directly onto your hosting account and through your website in WordPress? Yes, you can do that. It is not a best practice. It is not recommended. People go, well, then what would happen? Well, what would happen? In the old days, I would notice that people would click on a video and it would like download and then play. It would cause like just a mayhem of stumbling blocks for the end user. Nowadays, I think things process a little bit better than that, but I once volunteered to migrate somebody's website. And when you migrate a website, usually it's like, you put in a migration tool, you get a file, then you mirror the file over to the other server and you load it up. And then when I went to unload this one person's website, it was something like 26 gigs deep on stuff. And I realized they had like 50 training videos in their media bin, and it just made the whole process a nightmare. When you host your videos in a streaming service, you're hosting in, I don't care if it's YouTube, Wistia, Vimeo, Bunny.net. I use Adillo. Like there's all these different platforms that do video. Those are hosting platforms that are set up specifically to efficiently and affordably stream video. And so that gives your users kind of this seamless experience where they see the lesson, they click on the video starts to play right away, and does what it needs to do. And so very strongly, we would recommend not to load video up into your WordPress website directly. I do have an example of one that I did directly in the website for a reason. And it was kind of weird, but it was using Cadence Pro, and a client wanted a specific video in their header. Like they wanted like a motion video, and they didn't want to do, however you say it, GIF, whatever. They didn't want like an animated GIF. They wanted video because they wanted a certain quality. And it was a very involved discussion. But in that discussion, to use Cadence Pro in the hero section to play a video, we used a self-hosted video in that spot. Now, here's something interesting. When you clear the cache out of that website, and then you refresh that website, when the homepage comes up, the video is like this. And it does that for a little bit until it kind of like catches up, and then it starts to play, right? But if the website is cached and you go to the website, it'll play the video right away. Like that is an instance of that. And so could you overcome that with better hosting, better memory, more resources, more PHP workers, more? I'm sure that there's a way that you could overcome that. But on a base hosting package, to honor somebody's pre-prescribed budget and to give them the results they wanted in presentation, that's the compromise that we have using that self-hosted video. Do you have any experience that you could elaborate on there, Emily? Because I may have just confused people more than made it clear.
I always don't recommend uploading videos because they're so large to your media bin. Yeah, usually you will have to do YouTube unlisted at the very least. And then, you know, at the most, getting a video host, right? Like Adillo or Vimeo or bunny.net. But yeah, having those offloaded video hosts usually load pretty quickly because you're using their server to load the video. I really haven't had issues with like bunny.net's the one I use. I haven't had issues with really any of them loading fast enough.
Yeah, there was a request in the comment section that said, can you write down the name of the one that you use? And so I wanted to honor your request there, Cindy. And I put, you know, that I host on Adillo. AppSumo had a lifetime deal. Now, if you've never, well, this is for anyone that watches the replay, right? Maybe someone hasn't seen me on this before. I'm very clear about this. I am a sucker for a lifetime deal. I have purchased so many lifetime deals that I don't even know if they even exist anymore. I had one that did like unlimited lifetime email sending for mass email blasts or whatever. And I thought, gee, you never know when that might come in handy. And so I bought it, never used it. I'm kind of stupid that way. I got to admit, I'm kind of stupid that way. I bought the lifetime deal on Adillo. It's got some really cool features. I really like its screen recording feature. It has a, what do we call that? An add-on, an extension. It has an extension in Google Chrome where I can say Adillo screen capture, and it does it kind of like Loom, or kind of like the way I used to use StreamYard to do like tutorials, but it connects directly to my video hosting account in a special folder for my screen recordings. And so when I need to make a tutorial for a client, or I need to do something real quick, you know, to record something on screen, I just click that, it opens up, I click record, and then I export. And then as soon as it's done, like on the same screen, it's like copy the link or upload it or what, like it gives you, it's all right there. You can edit it. To me, that feature alone is worth what I paid for the lifetime deal. Plus, I have hundreds of videos in it, and I only had to pay once. So I do that one. If I didn't have the lifetime deal with Adillo, which one would I pick? That is the one that Emily mentioned, and that is bunny.net. Now, I put that one into a comment as well. I put that up on screen just so you know, it's bunny.net. Every time I send a customer to bunny.net, and maybe Emily can back me up on this one, I don't know. But every time I send a customer to bunny.net, they just email me back and tell me they're confused. Their billing or their sign-up process is, to me, it's convoluted at best. It's hard to understand because it doesn't say, oh, it's $19 a month, or it's $14 a month, or it doesn't say that. It says, we bill you based on usage, like 0.001 cent for every something what of bandwidth. It's hard to understand. But here's where I go with this. If you were going to pay a premium like Vimeo, it's roughly a quarter to a half the price of Vimeo, depending on how much video you actually run through it. Vimeo seems affordable and seems like this really great platform going in, which it is. It's a fantastic platform. But if you get successful and your bandwidth goes over a certain number with Vimeo, the math for your billing changes. So all of a sudden that math changes, and instead of being at like 0.001 cent for whatever, it's like 1 penny for every, right? Like it just exponentially jumps, and all of a sudden you get a bill from Vimeo and you go, what the hell is this? And it's because, hey, welcome to the real world. Now you're successful. Now you got to pay your dues. But that's a hard one to swallow for people. If you're an independent business or a course creator, and all of a sudden you get a big video hosting bill, especially if you haven't forethought it and accounted for that in your accounting ahead of time, it can be a real surprise. Bunny.net doesn't have those surprises. And so I encourage my clients to use bunny.net unless they want to sign up for some lifetime deal somewhere else, like I did with Adillo.
And Cindy said, I already have videos recorded with Loom, and those can be added to your WordPress website. Loom has an O-embed feature.
Yeah.
So that will be doable just by copying and pasting your Loom link into a WordPress post. But Jetpack also has a Loom block specifically. So if you have the free Jetpack plugin, I think it's in the free one, you can embed your Loom videos with a little bit more features. So if you're paying for that, that's already qualified as video recording and video hosting.
Yeah. And Loom's one of those things where it starts out free and then all of a sudden you got to pay for it when you get over 25 videos or something like that. So that one can surprise people too. So just be aware, like always read like the terms and the conditions and all the stuff. How long is the video stored? How long is it hosted for? How long? Like you want to know that stuff. Periodically things get cleansed in certain platforms. And so you want to be aware of what that is. I was just, oh my goodness, I can't remember what this morning I was just in something for a client and there was like a little window at the top. It might've been StreamYard. I think it was StreamYard. It said, note, videos over so many days are going to be deleted or cleansed. Make sure you save your videos before they get deleted. I think that was someone's account in StreamYard. With Bunny, is it storage or the streaming product? It would be the streaming product. And in fact, when you go into that user interface, that's confusing too, because it'll say storage and then it'll say streaming. And so you want to put your videos in streaming, and then you can either just load them directly into that streaming, or you can create subfolders for different categories in there. So you want to kind of look at it before you start doing. Like you want to have a plan or a strategy, because I don't know how big your project is. If you've got 10 lessons and 10 lesson videos, that's one thing, just dump them in there. But I have another client that literally has hundreds of videos, and for that it may have been better if we would have separated things by folders. But again, it all comes down to preference and how you like to run your stuff. She says, okay, thank you. Oh, she's edited with Canva and then re-uploaded. Editing with Canva is interesting. I haven't used Canva to edit video yet. Have you used Canva to edit video?
Yeah. It's like kind of a basic editor, but it's pretty good. You can do like little transitions really quickly. Since they have their pre-built library of like intros and stuff, I'll use it. I'll export Canva intros and put them in YouTube videos. But yeah, you could just put your whole video in there. It's kind of like editing in PowerPoint a little bit. Like if you were to have like a slide with some animations, a slide that's just a bunch of video, and then a slide with an outro, you can do things like that.
I am an Adobe Creative Cloud user, and I certainly do not get my money's worth out of that. Like I barely scratched the surface of what Creative Cloud can do. Their AI tools and stuff are pretty stinking amazing. Like when you jump in there and start to play, but I'm really ignorant on some of that. Like that's part of like when I say I'm going to take some time this summer and brush up on some things, that's one of the things I need to brush up on. They've just revamped a bunch of stuff in Creative Cloud. And I sign into these. I don't even understand what the tools are. Like there's new panels, or when I go to find something I used to use and it's gone, I'm like, well, where the heck did that go? So I'm a Creative Cloud user and I need it for other purposes. So I have it and I pay for it. It's just like I have Dropbox. I have one client that insists on using Dropbox and it costs me $12 a month just for that one person. Like it's crazy. All these subscriptions to all these things. But I've been using Descript a lot. So I've been recording. This sounds kind of crazy, but I have this GoPro camera that I've hated for years. I think GoPros are semi-senseless, but the film quality was always pretty good. It was very clunky. Like the app didn't work right. Connecting it to Wi-Fi and seeing it on another screen didn't work right. Like everything to me was just klutzy of what this was supposed to do for me as an action camera. But I've started using it as a training content camera, which totally changes its purpose. And so you talk to it, you say, GoPro start recording, and then it starts to record. Then I say, GoPro stop recording, and it stops recording. And it's perfect. And I bought I don't have it in here with me right now. It's in the garage. I bought one of those face recognition track you things so I can walk around and it follows me. So I've been recording training content literally in my backyard with just the GoPro and no microphone. And then I take the GoPro content and I load it up into Descript. I edit in Descript using the text editor, like so I get rid of the GoPro stop recording. I just delete that off the end. And then I add studio sound over my voice, and all of the background crap, like even the next door neighbor using a lawnmower, is gone. Like I thought for sure it was going to be a mess, right? So I did it and I said, well, I'll see how it goes. And so I recorded it. I edited in Descript. I add the studio sound. I publish it. And then I take that published Descript video and I put it into Adobe Premiere Pro. And that's where I add the bumpers, the lower third fly-in things, and the trailer. And then I publish that video as a finished video. And that's what I've been doing for my podcasts and for my training videos lately. And it's been working really well. And I used to record my podcasts in the StreamYard thing, like what we're using right now. But, I went back to Zoom. I figured I'm not using StreamYard the way I used to because it was expensive. And so I was like, I'll just go back to Zoom. I have to pay for Zoom anyway, $160 a year. So I already have it. I might as well record in that and then just move things over. And I did, and it works great. By the time I'm in Adobe Premiere and I put a brand overlay on it and the name of the podcast and the fly-ins and the fly-outs, it looks great.
Adobe Premiere is complicated.
People say that, but there's that other one. There's that open source version called DaVinci.
Mm-hmm.
And was that DaVinci Resolve? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
I tried the DaVinci because I was like, let's just call it for what it is. Like, I can't keep subscribing to every single tool. Like, there's so much crud. And so I was like, if I could just get rid of this Adobe Creative Cloud, maybe if I got a good video editor and this Canva thing is good for me, maybe I can just get rid of Adobe Creative Cloud. It didn't work for me. I tried to do the DaVinci thing, and it's great. I guess it works, but I've already put my time into Premiere, and I'm like, I don't feel like learning a whole new thing. The things don't do the same things. They're just it's not universal. It's not ubiquitous. It's not apples and apples. It's different.
Yeah.
Rolf is here. Rolf Schoiled. Cindy says, I might have other questions later during the month. When is your next meeting date? Well, Cindy, I haven't been asked on a date in a long time. Thanks for asking. Oh, I mean, hey, we meet every Thursday. We do this every Thursday at 12 o'clock Central, which would be 1 o'clock Eastern, which would be 10 o'clock in the morning Pacific Coast time. If you're in Hawaii, I forget what time it is in Hawaii. She says, lol. All right, folks, we have come up to the point where some of you need to come back with more questions. Cindy said she won't have questions till some other date. So we need someone else to come in here. Paris. Are you in Paris, Texas, or are you in Paris, France? Because you did say converting to French. I always heard Americans talk smack about France. Just saying it. And then when I worked for Ducati, I had to go to Italy. It was my first trip to Italy. This was like 2013. And the airplane landed in Paris for the layover. Paris, the Eiffel Tower. Sweet. So I got off the airplane. Now, in Europe, they run airports really weird. I don't know if you've ever had to do that. You did. You went to Greece. It was probably the same thing for you over there, Emily. You get off the airplane, and then everyone walks across the tarmac and gets on a bus, and then everyone squeezes on this bus. And I couldn't understand because everyone squeezed on the first bus. And then I looked and there was like a half empty bus behind us. So I got on the half empty bus. And then from the half empty bus, I went over, it was Charles de Gaulle Airport. And this is where I realized why people hate Americans overseas. I watched my fellow Americans act like absolute idiots inside the airport. They would like bum rush everybody for the power outlets in the waiting area. They were rude. I thought they were rude to the people, like, hey, give me a bottle of water. Like it was just like crazy, right? And nobody tried to speak like any language other than English, not even to try and be nice. And I witnessed that, and I thought, well, this is why people don't like Americans abroad. And then when I went to Italy, I really learned a lot. And I ended up going to Italy like 15 times for that company I worked for. And I ended up learning the language, going to different places, really adopting the culture. It was amazing. That company sent me to Spain for an event, sent me to Germany for an event, sent me to France for an event. So I went to Cannes, France. And when I was in Cannes, France, I don't do like the normal touristy thing. I try to find out like, hey, what's a really good restaurant, or what's a really good deal on a restaurant, or where should I be, or what should I do? And I walk the town by myself. I don't hang out with all the coworkers and go do like all the American things. I try to figure out what other people are doing. And I got referred to this awesome restaurant. It wasn't even Emily, this was 2015 or 16. Someone goes, oh, you can go to this restaurant. It's like 5 courses, but it's pretty pricey. And I was like, well, how much is pretty pricey? Like, I can't spend too much money. It was like 75 or 80 bucks. 75 or $80. It was a 5-course meal. They brought me like a charcuterie board. You know how I'm about those. So they brought me a charcuterie board, a shot of vodka, a glass of wine, agua frizzante, right? The bubbly water, an amazing entree meal, a dessert. It was crazy for 80 bucks. I was like, this is crazy. And it was in Cannes, France. Like, the place was just full of like bazillion-dollar yachts and all kinds of cool things. Watching them run that marina was really cool. We stayed at the Ritz-Carlton. That was a pretty fancy place. Did my story remind you anything of your trip to Greece?
I never experienced the bus part of the tarmac. They would just run people out of the terminal to wait in line on the tarmac. But yeah, that's yeah, a little bit different than my European experience. Was mostly like just walking around Greece. But as far as flying from place to place, I didn't really experience anything quite like that. But yeah.
Cindy says, I think the French tourists are the worst, and they don't even tip well. Well, the tipping thing is weird, because when I was in other countries, they treat going to a restaurant like an event. In America, we treat it like get in, get out, get in, get out, get in, get out. The more we can turn the tables, the more tips we make, the more food we sell, the more money we make. Like, very capitalistic in that approach. In Italy, I would sit at a restaurant for hours with people, hours, like talking and small talk and another bottle of wine and this and that. And asking for the check was like pulling teeth. I had to ask 3-4 times, can I get the check? Can I get the check? We're ready to go. We're ready to go. And getting the check was painful. Then you pay the bill. And then after you pay the bill, they bring you a bottle of limoncello in glasses. It's not even part of what you pay for, which is dangerous for them, because I love limoncello. I will drink the whole stinking bottle. I love that stuff. Now, Gary Alderson says, did you get my question? Gary, I don't know where you put the question. We have the spreadsheet, and the spreadsheet hasn't had a question added to it since July 29th. So now you got me wondering if the spreadsheet is broken from the form or something like that. Because normally people fill it in on a form, it gets transferred to a spreadsheet. I see the spreadsheet. And the last question we had was July 29th from Elijah Quick. So I don't see a question from you. Unless, of course, you did something crazy, like send it to my email or something, because I really don't check my LifterLMS email on a regular basis. Oh, you sent it to team at LifterLMS. It's going to be in the support then. You know what? Emily, you take over. I'm going to go to support and see if I see it in there. I don't hear you taking over.
Yeah.
I'm in another screen.
My takeover would be like, describe your question in chat. I could also find it in the
Well,
help
that's so,
box,
yeah, who knows? Gary could have written himself a paragraph or 6.
but-
I don't see it there either. Of course, it might not be assigned to me. It might be assigned to some other box. I don't know. What's your question, Gary? You could copy and paste it.
Good copy and paste.
Copy and paste. Boom, boom, boom.
I sent it last night. I'm in the support so team at LifterLMS. Let's see, unassigned. Look for Gary.
Look for Gary.
Look for Gary. Here we go. Exam only. I see some screenshots that say, when a person makes a payment for an exam only, does the system automatically send that person?
What's an exam only?
I don't know. This is from last night, 15 hours ago. Oh, this is from Navi. Let's see. So let me open this thread and go all the way to the top. A forward re-exam only. So maybe the subject line of this is exam only. I just see 2 screenshots of text. I'm trying an experiment. I updated the days for exam from 1 day to 2 days. Yeah, it's a little easier if you put the question in August. Oh no, I don't. Digging through the support box is complicated. Support this email address. Captcha conflicts. Why isn't this thread displaying me the message from Gary? I don't know why Help Scout's not showing me Gary's message. I haven't been in Help Scout in so long. I used to manage all this, but they updated the UI and now it's complicated. From support. Oh, I see. Forwarded message from Delphine. Hi, Gary. So this is to Gary from Delphine that was forwarded to us. Now I'm understanding. When a person makes a payment from an exam only, does the system automatically send that person back to section 16.1, or does the person have to log in again in order to get there? Ideally, of course, it would be great to send the person immediately back to section 6.1. I don't think an extra day makes a difference. The person complains they log in and can't register for the exam, but they are logged in. I don't know exactly what kind of exam registration flow that y'all have put together. Makes a payment for an exam only. Maybe that's like a course that's simply just a quiz. Does the system send the person back to the section 16.1? So it's like when you make a payment for a course, you usually get redirected back to the course page. You can set up a custom redirect. So when a payment is made, they get redirected to a custom URL. It could be google.com. It could be a specific lesson. It could be anything you want it to be, or even into a specific quiz. So a plan which has no training but lets you buy just the certification exam. That sounds great. And so it takes them to their exam site in India. I would need some more context even of this email, I think. So you're selling basically just a course that only includes an exam, or a membership that only includes an exam. So say if a course, Matthew's in chat, say if a course has a final exam, I think they're asking for the certificate of completion or passing. I don't know if that's the question here, Gary, if you could clarify, but Yeah, so you can sell a course that is just a quiz. Basically, it would be a one lesson course. We could demo this if you want to see it as well, but a course with a single lesson, and that lesson has a quiz on it. When the course is completed or the quiz is passed, you can trigger an engagement to issue a certificate. Gary says it's not really what they're running into. I guess, Gary, you mentioned an exam site in India. I don't know what's going on with that. Like, are you having people purchase on your platform and then get redirected to a different website to complete an exam, or what exactly is your scenario there? Because in Lifter, you can send someone to anywhere you want on your website when they get purchase completed.
Talking about the redirect and the access plan, right?
Yes, yeah, the post-purchase redirect.
You can send them anywhere. You could even send them to like your Facebook page. I mean, I think that's pretty cool. That's a pretty cool feature.
Yeah.
Not sending people to a Facebook page. I'm just saying you can redirect them to anything. It's not just anything in your website. Yeah,
you could redirect them to a Facebook group if it's a private Facebook group and you're running payments for that through LifterLMS, stuff like that. It's issued by Speed AMX in India via XML PC. It works for most people. It is issued by SpeedMax. Speed AMX. I don't know who Speed AMX in India is, but it worked for most people. Do you understand, Kurt? I'm curious if it's like, oh, you're purchasing Lifter, you get sent over to the website in India to complete the exam. Is that kind of the flow of the LMS? Or
I'm a little confused because it looks like he's talking about a standalone payment gateway from India, which would circumnavigate the access plan, which would change the way that feature would operate, right?
Oh, I see. There's SpeedExam.net, your online testing partner. So did you set up an exam on a third-party service and you're trying to sell access to it through Lifter? Is that kind of what you're doing there?
It's what I'm taking away from it.
Yeah.
He responds, says no.
No. I think that was before I said that.
Oh.
But yeah, that's it. You have SpeedExam, which is a third-party testing service, and you want to sell access to it through Lifter and basically send them over there once they've paid you. Because that's definitely doable in a couple ways. But then the challenge is if you're trying to award a certificate in LifterLMS or something like that, it doesn't really quite work that way because your exam service would be on a third-party area. So your certificate or completion or anything like that would need to be triggered over there. 16.1 does some basic editing, register, and send them over. What's 16.1 is what? Is that a course of yours? I'm curious how this all ties into Lifter. I'm like, this sounds like SpeedExam is going to manage the quiz grading and the quiz building on your part and everything, and the quiz taking for the student. But then I'm a little lost. It's an internal lesson, so you have a lesson within your course that is 16.1 that sends them over to your third-party testing service. And I guess the question is if people are struggling with that. They sent some screenshots, but they're in an ASC format, and I can't open them on a Mac.
What's ASC?
I have no clue.
Okay, so I'm not the okay. I'm just making sure I'm not completely out of the loop on something else, which has been happening a lot. Like this last couple of weeks, I've been really surprised, Emily. I got to tell you, I've been getting emails that are like, "Hey, how do you do X, Y, Z?" I'm like, "What in the world are we talking about?" Typically represents an ASCII encoded text file. Oh, Adam Silver to the rescue! Shazam! All right. Let's move on. Let's see if we can get a better take on what's going on there. In the meantime, I want to jump over to Matthew. Matthew says, so say if I have a course, but I have a final exam. That's a good thing to have on a course, Matthew. I'm with you so far. I think that they are asking if it sends a certificate of completion or passing. Matthew, yes. How about that? Yes. LifterLMS, no matter what level of LifterLMS you install, it could be the free version of LifterLMS, is going to come with the ability to have a final quiz, because you can attach the quiz to the lesson, and then you can build a certificate. Certificates are under engagements. So if you're, like I said, even if you're on the free version of Lifter, under engagements, you're going to see certificates. So you can create the certificate there, and then you create an engagement that has the trigger that issues the certificate. So under engagements, there's a bunch of triggers that are pre-programmed into the platform. And engagements does a lot of things. It can send emails. It can send, what do we call that? Awards or achievements. It can send certificates. And so you're going to see a lot of triggers. And one of those triggers could be successfully passes a quiz, which is your final test, or completes the course. Maybe you have it where you want them to make sure they complete everything in the course and then take the quiz and get the certificate. Then you would pick completes the course because it would make sure that everything in the course is completed. If you say completes the quiz, but they could say they could skip lessons 5, 6, 7 and go take the final quiz and pass it. If they pass that quiz, they would still get the certificate without doing 4, 5, and 6. So you have to pick the trigger that makes sense for your use case, and then that's your automation that would issue the certificate upon completion. So if they pay for it, it takes them to the exam, not the course. Reggie. Okay. Matthew, I think you've confused me a little bit. The quiz is attached to a lesson, and the lesson is inside a section, and the sections are inside the course. So if someone pays for the course, they get access to all the sections, lessons, assignments, and quizzes that you have in the system. And so that's what the access plan gives access to. If you wanted to have a free course and then say, hey, if you want to be certified, pay us and take the quiz, you would have to create a separate course to put the final test in, sell that course with the test in it. So you would basically have a free course for content and a paid course for testing and certification. That's a little confusing. It's a little convoluted. But I'm not going to say the use case doesn't exist. Somebody might want to try and do that. Typically, you have people have an access plan for the course. The quiz is part of the course. When they finish the course, the automation is they get the certificate. Typically, that's how that works. All right.
I think Matthew is commenting on Gary's question. I suggested to Gary in chat to provide us recreation steps. It's something that's very helpful when contacting support, or us to say step 1, student signs up for the course. Step 2, they take a bunch of lessons. Step 3, they land on this lesson titled 16.1. And then kind of lay out exactly what the steps are that are supposed to happen so that we have the context and see kind of where exactly things are getting stuck. If you include the expected behavior of I expected them to automatically be redirected and then back to our lesson or something like that from a third-party platform. And then the actual behavior is that sometimes they're not redirected. That would give us a key into is the issue that they're not being redirected from the third-party property back? And that would be more of a question maybe of their software and how it works. But yeah, that's my recommendation. Recreation steps.
Groovy. I wasn't sure whether I was going to mention it or not. It's very interesting to me. I was talking to somebody this week that has extensive LifterLMS experience. And I'm creating a course, and they're going to be promoting part of that course in their website. So it's going to be this weird referral promotion thing. And then they were like, well, they were like, so when you build it in your site, you're going to have to redo it in our site? Like, it was kind of a weird question, I thought. And I was like, no, we're just going to clone the course and then delete the ones that are going to be on my platform and keep the ones that are going to be in your platform. Like, so we're going to, the first 2 sections of the course are going to be on their platform. Simple, right? And so I was like, no, we're just going to clone it and then delete those last 4 sections and then import it to your website. So I'll clone it, and then I will edit it, and then I will export that and then import it to your site. I got to tell you, Emily, and this is someone that has been around for a while. Like, this is a keyed in person in the space. And they were like, oh, I've never done that. I thought that sounds hard or whatever. And it hit me like a ton of bricks. And I'm not picking on the person. That's not my intention at all. I'm not picking on the person. It is, it's just really interesting to me. This week especially has been like this. It's just been an onslaught of weird things where people will present something to me that is inherently very, very complicated. And they'll say it with an assumption that if they say it, they speak it into existence and it's easy. Right. And then on the other hand, I have people that are coming to me with like what they assume is this insurmountable obstacle, and everything's got to be a manual process. And they've missed like something that's like out of the box functionality. It's just been a really weird, I'm going to say I'm going on 2 weeks of this, actually, of 2 weeks of like almost everyone that comes to me with a new question or a new thing is like completely on the opposite side of where they should be. There are so many things that LifterLMS will do as features directly out of the box. And I think that sometimes we get so distracted by this new thing or that new thing, or implementing or integrating with this other third-party thing. Like, there's so many things LifterLMS does out of the box that I think it's important sometimes to go back to basics and go, okay, what does this stinking thing do, right? I can make courses. I can clone courses. I can set up cohorts. I can have groups. I can do group sales. I can set up e-commerce. I can have memberships. I can manage my members, and I can manage my content within my own website through the membership tools. Like, being able to like kind of bring that in-house a little bit, and then maybe understanding a little bit more about like the engagements and the notifications, just being able to say, okay, what's the user experience? What goes out to people when they sign up for something? How do they interact with it? And so in this case, what I'm going to say, and it's not really like it's a solicited question right now, but I would say if you haven't done one of our demo websites, it only costs $1. I would really recommend, especially if you're new to the platform, spend $1, get a hosted example that's fully populated with all the add-ons in it. If you don't want all the add-ons, say you're just going to do the universe bundle, right? Get the demo site, go into the plugins area, and deactivate the add-ons that you're not going to use, and then use the website like as you foresee it with the add-ons that you intend to employ, just so you can see what it does and how it reacts and like what it does. Because I think there's a huge disconnect. I think the platform's big enough that there's a huge disconnect over what it does and what it doesn't do. And I think people are confusing themselves. Might be part of that summertime thing I'm going through, Emily.
Probably.
The certificate's issued by Speed Exam. Exam only. Simply bypass the course, redirect. I kind of get it, Gary. I get it. Like, is it like they pass the quiz in LifterLMS and then you've got some kind of API connection or trigger that executes the certificate from a third party? That seems like what's happening.
Certificates issued by Speed, or the certificate could be fully managed by Speed Exam.
Yeah. He says we got it.
Okay.
So I don't know.
Interesting. Okay. So it's not the certificate is not a LifterLMS certificate on your WordPress website. Okay.
Yeah.
Or wait, are you saying yes, does the certificate belong to Speed Exam, or does the certificate belong to the WordPress LifterLMS property? Because what Kurt's talking about is an API call to tell LifterLMS to issue you a certificate, right? And I'm asking, is speed exam?
I think it's an API call of some kind or automation tool that says they successfully completed the exam in LifterLMS, and then this third-party thing issues the certificate. I had a client that had to connect to the state of California for certification. So the state of California sold the course. When they sold the course, there was an API automation that gave them access to a LifterLMS website. They did everything in the LifterLMS website for the course and for the testing. And then when they successfully completed the test, that, the read-write capability of that API setup with California, California issued the certificate. And then based on how many certificates they issued or whatever, it's how they, at the end of the month, they reconciled an invoice off of it or something like that. Boom. Cindy's got a great question. This is one that we should bring up before says, so can you create bundle prices on courses in Lifter? Absolutely, Cindy. It's one of my favorite things. A lot of people would say, like, for instance, LearnDash or Tutor LMS or one of these other LMSs. You can make bundles, but it's like this convoluted way to figure it out, right? With Lifter, it's pretty direct. With LifterLMS, let's say you have 10 courses. Let's say you got 10 courses and you want to have a go-getter. Let's say you want to have a go-getter membership, and anyone that has a go-getter membership gets access to all 10 courses. They can buy the one membership, and then that membership can either give them access to all 10 courses, or you can even auto-enroll them into all 10 courses through that membership. So when they sign up for the membership, they can automatically be enrolled in all 10 of those courses. Now, you could also split things up. Let's say you've got 10 courses and you've got 2 that are on personal development, and you've got 2 that are on productivity, and you've got 2 that are on human resources. So you could say, okay, we're going to have a human resources package. So sign up for the human resources membership and get auto-enrolled to these 2 courses. Sign up as a productivity expert and get access to these 2 courses, or sign up for, leadership, sign up for the leadership membership and get the personal development courses. And so what I do with that is I typically break my courses into categories and then create category memberships. And then I market those memberships on different lead magnets to different audiences. So all the courses are in one website, but the different audiences get directed to singular memberships. And then what I usually do at the end of one of those courses, it would probably say, hey, if you like this course, other people that took this course were also interested in these 3 courses. And I try to spread the wealth. That's a really cool thing to do. Shba-bada-boom, shba-bada-boom. All right. I'm going to go back and check the spreadsheet. I don't think there's anything on the spreadsheet there, but I'm going to go back and check it. Why? Because I can. Ask me anything. Oh, I'm going to check this other one too. Questions in the spreadsheet. Nope, this is awesome. We are caught up on questions. I like that. Because sometimes I'll forget to check and then we leave somebody hanging and then I feel like dirt. It's not good to feel like dirt.
And with Gary's situation, I'm still a little bit lost on it, but Speed Exam does the quiz and the exam. Or it's just the exam and the issuing of the certificate, but I'm not sure how that problem, it sounds good. How does that tie into Lifter and what's the issue? That's kind of where I'm.
Yeah, that's one of those, Gary, you might need to grab an expert off the experts list, or correct me if I'm wrong. You guys aren't on the free plan, right? If you have access to support, you could put in a support ticket for some advice too. And then that's that. Oh, I need to sign out of that. All right. Got a lot of things going on at once today. All right. Matthew Price. Off subject. Is it better to host videos or have YouTube or another platform to host them? Matthew, you're late to the call. You need to go and talk to Cindy. I kind of joke, I jest. At the beginning of the call, and you could see the replay for an extended version of this. There are three main video hosts that LifterLMS is geared to work with if you're using a tool like Advanced Videos, because we have an add-on called Advanced Videos. And out of the box, it works with YouTube, Wistia, or Vimeo. So those would be the three that we would point to, right? So YouTube, Vimeo, or Wistia. If you use bunny.net, which is much more affordable than, say, Vimeo, if you use bunny.net, then you also need to use like Presto Player as the player in your site. And I know I'm making this a more confusing answer than it needs to be, but if you use Presto Player and bunny.net, you can simulate the advanced videos feature by lying to the system and saying that you're using Vimeo. It's one of the ways that Presto Player has that set up. So you could do that. When it says, is it better to host videos or have YouTube or another platform host? I'm thinking when you say host videos, you're like, should you host them in your server, in a different folder on your server, within your media bin, any of those are bad. Like any of those are bad options. That you want to put your videos on a server that is set up to stream video. So that's a kind of a specialty, right? So you want to give your users the best experience and for you to not have a nightmare clogging up your media bin. The files are huge. And so you're going to want to run those on a server that is designed for it. YouTube, to me, works great. If you've got content that you want to put on YouTube, you want other people to see it outside the website, it helps drive people to your site, to your product, to your brand. That's great. Like YouTube is the second biggest search engine in the world or something like that. So YouTube's really smart. But if it's proprietary information and you want to put it as an unlisted video in YouTube and then try to sell that video through your website, that breaks the terms and conditions of YouTube. So that's why we recommend things like Vimeo, Wistia, bunny.net, Adillo, things like that. So that's why we do that. All right. Folks, that brings us up to the end of the hour. I hope we've been good. We'll be here next week, same time. Don't forget 55% off at lifterlms.com/AMA-gift. Anything else I should mention, Emily?
No.
Okay. I'm out.